everyone, and welcome to video number 12 of my Valentine series. So I'm going to be playing with something that is completely different and out of the box for me, and that is the new white embossing paste I got and one of the gelatos. So this is the red cherry gelato, and I'm just using the gelato spatula that I got in my last little Simon Says stamp haul. And yeah, I used way too much. Just as an FYI, you don't need nearly this much, but I just scraped off some of the gelato and some of the embossing paste onto my little Tim Holtz craft mat, and then you just use the spatula to mix it back and forth. It's kind of got the consistency of like a buttercream icing, so yeah, just mixing it until you're happy with it, no matter what. I think in the very end, when you're using like the gelatos to tint your embossing paste, it'll have a little bit of grains in it. But yeah, you mix it till you're happy with it. You kind of want to work a little bit quickly because it's supposed to dry. Well, it does dry on paper quite quickly, but you have enough time to, mess around with it. So I'm totally new to all this. This is only the second time I've ever even used this stuff, so bear with me. But yeah, I've got my cardstock, and I just used some washi tape that I actually pressed onto my, shirt a few times and onto my skin so that it's not super, super sticky, but enough just to hold the paper down because I didn't want it to rip the paper. And then yeah, you basically just scrape the embossing paste over the stencil. This is the Simon Says stamp Falling Hearts stencil that I just got. And yeah, I scraped onto there, and if you want like a thicker image, you would just leave it, but I scraped off as much as I could because I was planning on doing like all sorts of different things with it. And then when you're done with it, you can just use a baby wipe and it cleans right up. Also, if you're new to it like I am, make sure you wash your stencils immediately or stick them in a tub of water so that that paste doesn't dry on them, because then it's just not easy to clean. Just FYI. So then I went on to the rest of my card while that dried, and it didn't take very long. And I got a piece of vellum and then a stamp from my All About Love set. And I inked it up with this gold Delicata ink. Any pigment ink would work. I used the gold because I was planning on stamping something else on the inside of the card with gold, so just to stick with one ink. Because yeah, when you're using gold ink, you don't need to emboss it, but I'm embossing this over the vellum anyway with gold embossing powder because it would take forever to dry on vellum, and I don't have the time or the patience to deal with that. So I just used my Ranger gold embossing powder and heated that up with my heat tool, and I just love that. That is so much fun when that melts. And once it was done, I started figuring out my card layout, and I was totally inspired by a card Sherry Carroll did on the Simon Says Stamp blog last week. And funny thing is what I thought I saw on her card and then trying to change it on mine ended up making them a lot more similar than I planned, but I'll get to that in a minute. I die cut a white little frame with MFT Precious Polaroids die, and then I die cut a heart from red cardstock just because the piece of vellum with the sentiment on it was just kind of fading into the card and you didn't really notice it. So I went to adhere the die cut heart down and realized I had just picked up some metallic thread because that's also a new thing. I'm like going all out with all the new trendy things all of a sudden, and one of them is using like metallic thread and just bundling it up and sticking it willy-nilly onto a card. I've seen quite a few people do it all of a sudden. Didn't know that was a thing, don't know where it came from. I guess like scrapbook stuff. I guess I don't look at the right blogs or websites because I've been clueless for a while now. But yeah, I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I think it looks cool. So I just basically wrapped some little gold metallic thread around my fingers and smushed it right into the adhesive, and it stuck perfectly, and then pushed it right back onto the card front. So, and then to adhere the little vellum piece, I left enough over the edge so that I could just fold it over the edge of the cardstock, because with vellum, any adhesive you use is going to show through, so you want to try and hide it as best you can. So I adhered it from behind and then adhered the little Polaroid frame, making the vellum kind of go in and out of it just to give it a little extra something. And then once I've got that down, I'm just going to add a teensy bit of adhesive to the back of the L so that it's hidden by the embossing there and just holds down that little piece of vellum, which I die cut, or not die cut, just used my scissors and eyeballed it to cut the little flag ends there. And then yeah, in my head, what I thought I had seen of Sherry's card was that it was a white on white card. I just thought it was white, so I was like, oh, I'm going to do something different. I'll put mine on like a blue card base, just change it up a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna link to hers in my blog on my blog post, which I always do, and you guys will see how really similar these ended up being. I kind of shook my head when I went to type up my blog post and like pulled up the link to her actual card. Yeah, on a blue card base, blue hemp cord as well. I was like, yeah, must have really absorbed the details of that without even noticing. So it's kind of funny how that works sometimes. But yeah, it obviously made a huge impression on me because I really liked it. So I'm using some old, this is Baja Breeze by Stampin' Up. I don't know if it made it into the regular color line or not. I know it was in color forever ago. So I used that for my card base and just adhered the embossed cardstock onto that. And yeah, I'll do more on, stencils and embossing paste and that later on. Like I said, I'm totally new to this. I had another piece of cardstock that I did it with the last of my little embossing paste that I'm using for the inside of my card. It's not perfect, but I didn't have the time to make it perfect or do it again. I had sick kids and supper to make and all that kind of fun stuff, so I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants. So that's kind of why this video is a little all over the place, and just, it was chaos. And if you could see my like full desk right now, it was a mess. So anyway, on the inside of the card, instead of just stamping the sentiment in gold on the white like I thought I was going to do, instead I decided to just do the same thing and stamp it on vellum and emboss it. And then I die cut another little red heart because I thought that would go right behind the heart in the sentiment, just a little extra something. And yeah, you can kind of see my messy stencil paste embossing on there. That's why I chose to use the vellum, just to kind of cover that up a little bit. Just, yeah, it's totally driving me crazy, but like I said, I didn't have the time to fix it, and I just had my heart set on using it, so I just went with it. So I wrapped the vellum around this piece of cardstock as well, adhered it down, and then I'm just going to adhere that to the inside of my card, and that's all there was to it. So yeah, as always, there will be a link below the video to my blog post where I'll post a link to the card that inspired this one, as well as links to all the supplies used and all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!